Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Hugo Quintanilla here with another live. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I greatly appreciate it. This is your space, 15 to 20 minutes a day, to learn a little bit more about real estate and how it can benefit you and those around you. I am your host, Hugo Quintanilla, licensed with Long and Foster, North Potomac, Rockville. My email is hugo@lnf.com. My website is yourrealtorhugo.com, and my phone number is 240-389-4846. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section or the chat for the platform of your choice. We are on Instagram Live, we are on YouTube, and on Facebook. We are on LinkedIn, on X, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Hugo, the number 4, Long and Foster. So if you have any questions or any comments, please feel free and leave them so that we can incorporate them into the show and bring them into another episode in the following weeks. Today, we're just going to jump right into it. We're going to try something new. I'm going to share a video with you all. Let me know if you guys hear it, how it goes, what you think, but it's going to be the center of today's concept. Silver divorces, untangling real estate knots in 55 plus communities. And this is actually based off a article I was listening to today on USA Today, I believe Abstract. It is having to do with the rise of divorces in the 50 plus community. So I have a news station that actually did a report on this, and we're going to play that, and then I'll come in and give you 10 tips on how to handle this type of situation if you happen to find yourself in a gray divorce or a silver divorce. So let's see if this will work. Okay, and this is from Fox 29 Philadelphia. Let's see.
It's divorce after 50. Some have dubbed it a gray divorce, and it can cost you a lot of green. Joining us this morning, our money man, Dan Ricardo, to break it all down. Dan, you have clients that you see who are going through this.
Every day in our practice, we see gray divorce, bald divorce, whatever you want to call it. But listen, the divorce rate overall is down, as you know, in this country, right? But for people age 50 and over, it is soaring. 1 out of 4 divorces now are for gray, so-called gray divorce. People over the age of 50.
Do we know why?
Yeah, here's what's going on. First, we're living longer. That's the good news, right?
Okay.
So you're 50 years old, you're in a relationship that's not terrific.
Right.
And you're thinking, hey, this could be another 30, 40, 50 years.
So I'm not content with this.
Yeah, bailing out. The other thing is the kids are grown. How many times, Lauren, have you heard from people
all the time?
We're only together because of the kids.
Yep, which is still not a good reason.
Not a good reason, but that's what people do, right? And then finally, women now, a lot of women are, obviously earning good, great careers, earning a lot of money. So they're more independent and able to take that step, whereas maybe years past they weren't able to. So there's lots of reasons why folks are doing this.
Okay, let me ask you this. When we talk gray divorce, is it hitting the woman or the man the hardest once they split?
Yeah, generally speaking, and I see this every day, unfortunately, the female, the woman, the wife, hurts more financially afterwards. And here's why. 50% of women say that they leave financial decisions and financial planning to the husband.
No!
Yes.
Ladies, we gotta step up.
Exactly. So that's not a good sign, right? And the other thing is that, listen, women live longer.
Yes.
But they have less saved for retirement. $126,000 is the average 401k for a male versus only 83 grand for a female. So women live longer, but they have less savings.
All right.
So that's another problem.
What's your tip, Dan?
Well, a few things. First, even if you're not working, ladies, and your husband's working, you're not, make sure that you're contributing to an IRA. You're allowed to do that even if you're not working. It's called a spousal IRA.
Okay.
That way you can close that retirement income gap. Next, check out socialsecurity.gov, because that way you'll know exactly what you're going to get when you retire. No surprises. We don't want you eating cat food when you retire, so you'll know exactly what you're going to get.
Work too long and hard.
And hey, for husbands and wives, do not borrow money for your kids to go to college in your name. Let them borrow money if they have to, student loans, in their own name, not mom and dads.
I love these tips.
All right.
It's something to consider, but the takeaway is, ladies, we have to be in charge of our own money.
Step it up.
You always tell that. When I walked into Dan's office as a
Yep.
client, that was what he said first. Lauren, I like this.
You're in charge. Got to be in charge.
All right. So thank you to Fox 29 for covering that news story. And like I said, it's actually an article on USA Today talking about the 50 plus community and how we're seeing more divorces in that sector than ever before. And ladies, the most first time homebuyers that we saw the last 3 years was single women. So please empower yourselves, educate yourselves on what you can do with your money. And, from personal experience, what I find is that women are much better savers than men. They are a little bit more conservative in their investments, but they also are just as savvy in real estate. And at the end of the day, ladies, you can't be scared of getting into the game. You have to play to win. So, my 10 little tips for handling a divorce at that age. We'll cover a little bit of more the realtor aspect, but also some good tips that you just want to keep in mind to make sure that you are covering your bases and having a smooth transaction, even though you are having a divorce or in the process of dissolving your marriage. So, number one, individual consultations. Encourage separate meetings to understand each person's preferences and concerns. This is whether or not you choose to use separate realtors or if you choose lawyers. I think that a individual consultation helps to keep everybody in a peaceable arrangement and helps establish the rules of engagement. Everyone has goals. And number two is personalized goals. Help each party articulate their individual goals for the sale, ensuring their needs are considered. And we have to make sure that these needs are met. If one party feels like they're gaining more than the other, then this could be an issue. So make sure you're working with an agent that understands how delicate this situation can be, or at least working with another co agent that can also help you understand and facilitate the delicate nature of the transaction. Number three, independent legal guidance. Suggest both individuals seek individual legal advice to protect their interests and your own behind as a realtor. Why? Because you never want someone to feel slighted or taken advantage of in the system. It's better to be safe and sorry and document, document, document. During a situation like this or a contentious divorce, you need to have a paper trail of everything that has occurred. It's just for your best interest. God forbid anything happens in the future, but if it happens, you are prepared. Understanding financial impact. Clarify how the sale will impact each person, financially ensuring transparency. Transparency, transparency, transparency. Disclose, disclose, disclose. These are all words that I always bring up. It is better to be transparent and honest than to be known for facilitating. No one wants someone that finesses because a finesse will always leave someone undoubtedly short. We want to be transparent about the problems that are arising and fixing them and taking care of them, because if we do things correctly, everything has a solution, except taxes and death. But at the end of the day, we confront our problems and our obstacles and overcome them. We don't shy away from them. Understand financial impact. Clarify how the sale will impact each person financially, ensuring transparency. As you heard from the news article, and this is really why I wanted to bring this report up, it impacts by far the female greater than it does the male. So, keeping this in mind is something that will probably be brought up in court. So, we are usually following what the court orders, unless otherwise it being on mutual grounds, the both parties feel that they can divide the belongings amicably. If they find that they can sort things out themselves and the courts cannot be involved, all the better. They will save themselves time and money. So that's something to understand, the financial implications of getting lawyers involved, getting realtors involved, getting courts involved, and then dividing versus just dividing and doing things with one person that you trust, that's transparent and honest. Personalized property valuations. Discuss the property's sentimental value to each individual and consider that in the pricing strategy. This is really a double-sided sword because you want to take into consideration the personal aspects of what the property means to each, but you also want to be fair about the property value. So I will always take into consideration the personal value of the property, give you my assessment. And then, if there's still some sort of digress between my numbers, your numbers, and the other spouse's numbers, then let's get an appraiser in to come in and pre-appraise the property to assure us that we have the highest probability of going to market at the best price, because that is the number one killer of a property is price. If it's priced correctly, it shows well, and it's marketed in a good, honest fashion, there's nothing to really worry about. You'll see the property fly off the market. Personal space preservation. Ensure that personal items and spaces are respected during the staging process. If the both parties are still living in the property, if they're moving out, try to be very cognizant of their spaces, of each other's spaces, and respectful. There's no need to cause more fighting and infighting about personal property at the real estate level. You don't want to get other third parties involved in this mess. You really want to be as amicable as possible as it needs to be so you can get through the process as fast as possible and get your money and get out of this marriage as fast as possible. You don't want to spend any more time dealing with this. I'm not saying, be a pushover, but I'm also saying, pick and choose your battles that are worth fighting for. Flexible communication. Allow for different modes of communication based on each person's comfort level. There are going to be situations where some will want to text, some will want to call. Typically in a divorce, everything is better in a documented fashion. So making sure that you're documenting and taking your time to actually write things down in an email chain, it can really help. Just not only for your safety as a realtor, but also for everyone else involved. You make sure there's no questions. Yes, emails can be lost. Yes, things can happen, but a paper trail is a paper trail, and it does help in a court of law. Individually tailored showings. Accommodate personal schedules for property viewings independently. You are working with two different people that are not talking, so make sure that you're taking your time to establish showing times that will work for both. I don't want to be showing the property and then have you walk in and then have your spouse walk in when you have a contentious divorce. We don't want this. We want to avoid such situations as this and give you a smooth and speedy sale, even if it can't be enjoyable. Emotional check ins. Regularly check in on the emotional well being of each party, offering support as needed. This is more a note for me than for you, but you want to just put those feelers out there. Yes, I know it's a very tough to feel for someone that you might have a contentious divorce with, but putting that good faith out there will help continue good negotiations, because remember, you're working with a co-seller and you're also working with a buyer, so putting out those good feelings can really help. I feel like it's one of these great things that you can do. Emotional well, I'm sorry, respect autonomy and reinforce the importance of respecting each other's decisions and autonomy throughout the process. This is something that will go hand in hand with a few other kind of bonus tips they'll throw in there that I think are really important. You want to keep communication as a forefront. You want to agree on goals and set a clear goal between everyone involved, the lawyers and the other realtors. Get that evaluation, that appraiser, to come in and give you that third party. It really does make a difference. Divide the assets according to the divorce agreement. It just really does make everything so much easier. Stage and present the property in the best way possible, setting up neutral territory for meetings and signings of documents. If it can be digital, make it digital. If it can't be, then set up a neutral spot that can work for everyone, so that we can have this person sign, then you leave, and then this person signs, and then you leave, and then we can take care of the paperwork. We want to make it comfortable for everyone. And be flexible, respect privacy, and seek emotional support. There is a very stressful situation happening. So please be kind to yourself and give yourself grace, because these things are not easy to go through. So those are just some extra bonus tips I would throw in there from the article that I would just kind of mull over. To recap, today's tips were individual consultations, personal goals, set them up for each party, individual suggest individual legal guidance, understand the financial impacts, and make sure that you're conveying that directly to the parties. Personalize property valuations, making sure you're taking into consideration each party's needs for the property, as well as an appraiser's valuation for the property, and respect personal space, making sure that you're flexible with communication styles and individualize the showings to tailor to each individual's schedule. Have some emotional check-ins to make sure that everyone is progressing healthily, and at the end of it all, respect everyone's autonomy, their privacy, and their decision making. We are here to perform a job as realtors. We are not here to spread the tea or make light of a very tough situation or take advantage of a very tough situation. So communicate, 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 and remember that you are always in the driver's seat as the seller. So I understand it could be a tough situation, but the more that you are willing to be amicable and work with the other party, the sooner you can get out of this headache. So sometimes that's all it takes. And remember, there's a million ways to actually make this happen. You could sell off your portion, not even get involved with it. You could, have an agreement in the divorce proceedings that, will let you do something otherwise. It doesn't necessarily have to be a selling of the home, but, if that's the way the things are going to be, if the home is not going to be kept afterwards, then that is something to definitely take into consideration on what you can do. So, in the end, that's really the long and the short of it. We more than anything explore the nuances of gray divorces in the 55 and older community, learning these life transitions reshape the real estate market. And from fair property valuations to tailored staging, you have to take into consideration all of the tools that a realtor has in a situation like this. Yes, it's already very difficult to divorce and start over at this age, but it can be made easier when you're working with the right team or the right realtor that can take you on to the next stage of your life. And sometimes it needs a little bit more talking, someone that has a little bit softer heart, someone's a little bit more empathic and patient. But really, more than anything else, you have to be kind and give yourself grace. You know, it's hard out there. It's hard to just have a relationship, your own mental health, your own personal relationship with self, let alone a relationship with someone else. So I wish you all that are married out there the best, all that are in a relationship the best, um, and keep working at it. It's not about the day It's not about the I love you, from the day to day. It's about the long term longevity of a relationship and that forever love, at least for me. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I am Hugo Quintanilla. These have been some tips on how to deal with silver divorces, untangling real estate knots in the 55 plus community. Again, thank you to USA Today for the article on the 50 plus gray divorces, and for Fox 29 for making that news report. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you all tomorrow for another topic here on the show. Again, my phone number is 240-389-4846. My email is hugo@lnf.com, and my website is yourrealtorhugo.com. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day.